right, what's up, everybody?
Hello,
Welcome
hello.
to Married with Media. This is the Last of Us series review show.
Yeah,
This is our new weekly show. We're going to talk about The Last of Us because everybody wanted us to. So,
everybody.
so we're gonna give our thoughts on
Two people.
yeah we're gonna give our thoughts. Well, there's been quite a few people reaching out to me to ask me my thoughts on the show.
Gotcha.
So I figure we do a little simple, doesn't have to be a big or elaborate thing.
Yeah.
Simple, give our thoughts on episode 1 and 2 because we didn't get a chance to talk about episode 1 last week. So we'll just lump them both together here today. But look, before we get into talking about this show, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. We talk about TV shows. We talk about movies. We talk about entertainment news. We talk about all that stuff here on this channel. So if you like that kind of thing, hit the subscribe button. And also be sure to comments. We want to know your thoughts on The Last of Us as well. So is that everything?
I think it is.
I think
turn
that's
on
everything.
Those bell notifications.
Yeah, turn on the bell notifications so you can be notified. We got a missing review that we probably would have already put up by the time that this video comes out. So go check that out. And some Oscar nomination reactions. So we do some cool stuff on this channel, if I do say so myself. But we're here to talk about The Last of Us episodes 1 and 2. And one thing I do want to call out before we get started talking about this show, neither of us have fully played the game.
No.
Okay, so I have played the first 2 hours. So pretty much the
prologue.
First 2 hours. Okay. Pretty much the prologue up until the big moments with Joel and his daughter happens is where I fell off the game. For whatever reason, I just didn't continue playing it.
Gotcha.
So I know very little about the show, which is honestly exciting because going into a show not knowing anything about it, I would rather it be that way.
Right.
Because I feel like, I don't want to be constantly comparing the video game with the show.
Yeah, I think it would be a bummer to know what is probably going to happen.
Yeah. But from everything I've heard is that this is one of the most faithful adaptations of a video game ever made. So,
well, we're only 2 episodes in, but
only 2 episodes. Well, there's
people get so, eager ahead of themselves. They're like, this is the best ever. And it's barely started.
There have been several reviewers that have seen all 10 episodes.
Oh, okay.
So they are speaking from the perspective of seeing the whole show.
Okay.
Before us, simpletons, us peasants down here, we have to watch week to week, and some people have seen the full show. Okay, so where do you want to start with this? My thoughts, your thoughts?
So yeah, just going back to the first episode. I feel like it was, for me personally, I really enjoyed the first half of the episode, and then after that, I kind of lost interest. I got kind of bored. I enjoy the more leading up to
what I've learned about you is I think you're more of a fan of pre-apocalypse than you are of post-apocalypse.
Yeah. I guess.
Which is definitely that impending doom, like knowing something terrible is going to happen. It's definitely more like engrossing and like on the edge of your seat type of stuff.
Right. Yeah. Just like, the chaos is building and happening and just all that franticness and just thinking about what you would do. And then, I don't know, just after it's happened and, there's been some time that's passed. I'm just not very interested in the different groups of people and, I don't know. It just kind of bores me. So
yeah, well, we're introduced, and I feel like you kind of got that way with The Walking Dead. You would be into it, and then you would be out of it. So I feel like that's in line with your TV show watching traits, I guess.
Well, maybe just like apocalyptic shows.
Yeah. But I mean, that beginning, like the first 30, 45 minutes, however long that was very well done.
Yeah.
Like it was definitely, and it followed the game like very closely because that was the part that I remember playing and all the way leading up to, and we're going to be spoiling stuff on this show. So if you don't know anything about The Last of Us, don't watch this, but all the way up until Joel's daughter, Sarah, dies, I remember playing that back in 2014. And I'm pretty sure our daughter was just born.
Yeah.
And I remember that.
And our daughter's name is Ellie.
Our daughter's name is Ellie. And I remember that scene.
But I know that's not his daughter's name. But
yeah. I remember that scene affecting me. And I'd never been like emotionally affected that way by a game before. And part of me wonders, is that the reason why I stopped? Just because it made me, like, it just affected me like emotionally. I wasn't like mentally prepared to deal with it. that type of game. I don't know. I can't remember why I quit playing it exactly.
Yeah. I mean, there's stuff like that in movies too, though.
Yeah. But you usually, like, I played a lot of games. I used to play a lot of games. You usually don't get that kind of level of emotion out of a video game. They're definitely doing better with that kind of stuff now. And I just remember that being the first moment in a video game that really, like, truly affected me. Gotcha. And the show captured it beautifully. I thought it was a great moment that was equally as moving and affecting as well.
Yeah, I mean, it was a pretty quick scene. You know, they didn't really drag it out much. It kind of, I mean, she was dead.
Yeah, and I mean, I liked this daughter. I liked her as a character, and I think the show did a good job of making you, like, really like her. So they ripped your heart out, and you felt it.
Yeah.
But I'll flash a little image of her since I have some images here.
Yeah, I definitely enjoy her more than Ellie.
I could tell. I can tell that.
Yeah.
But we fast forward from there. The show smartly, I think, chooses the time period of 2002, which I can't remember what time period it was in the game.
I thought it was 2003.
Was it 2003?
I think so.
It might be 2003. That would make sense. 20 years later,
it was 2003. Yeah.
Because we weren't so tapped into social media, we couldn't find out what was going on in the world, like, immediately. So we have characters that are still walking around and are clueless as to what's going on,
right?
While the world's going to hell.
Yeah.
So I think it makes a lot of sense, and that definitely added to the tension of those scenes. But we go forward 20 years, and we meet up with Joel, and he's living in, is it Boston? I think it's Boston, that the city that they're outside of.
I think so.
Yeah, so then we're introduced to a older Joe. He's a little bit more world weary and
right.
Kind of over it, and it looks like he's been through some crap. And
obviously after the death of his daughter, which I can't remember. Did they ever talk about the mom?
We lost our overlay. The mom, no, I don't think so.
I can't remember if they talked about the mom in the beginning or not, but so, assuming, I don't know if she died or if they just, I mean, it seemed like she was kind of non-existent. So I don't know if she just, like, abandoned them or died or what have you. But obviously, depending on what happened there, and then the death of his daughter, and then the basically apocalypse happening, he's a little rugged now, and has like a hard shell. And
some people propose the question, it's like, why, like, what reason from that point on would you have to live? Like, why has he pushed himself to survive all this time when his daughter died? And I think it's because of his brother, probably, which we haven't seen him again since the prologue of the show.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Everybody's different, but I've heard people who have, like, just in real life, people who have lost loved ones and stuff, not everybody just wants to die, and so.
Yeah, that could be a character trait that we haven't yet, fully gotten into yet.
Yeah. But this is the part where I kind of started to lose interest.
Yeah.
What did we get?
Well, you get introduced to, like, there's a group called the Fireflies,
right.
And there's Joel, and his partner is Tess, and you get introduced to her, which, I really like that character and that actress from what I saw of her. But unfortunately, after episode 2, we're no longer going to get to follow that character anymore.
Yeah, you're kind of jumping ahead there. But I mean, you mentioned his brother.
Yeah.
So he was pretty much in most of the first episode.
Yeah.
And then, or I guess he was only in half, right?
Yeah, I guess
he was, like, because once
we haven't seen him in modern times.
Right. Once they did the time jump, we know that he's still alive, but he's basically gone off to, like, another tower somewhere to maybe try to find other people or something like that.
Yeah.
And they've lost connection with him. They haven't talked to him in, like, 3 weeks, I think the guy said.
I think from what I got of it, when they met the Firefly group, he's working with the Fireflies because Joel dropped a line on him that they turned his brother against him or something like that. Something along those lines.
I might have missed that part.
So I think that he's with the Fireflies, and maybe that's caused some kind of rift between Joel and him. I'm
Huh.
not exactly sure. I feel like I remember hearing that.
Don't talk unless you're sure.
Well, look, I've already said I don't know a lot about the games and the lore and everything, but I'm pretty sure they said something along those lines.
Because I wasn't paying that much attention at this point.
You were not. You were not paying attention.
Yeah. So I'm trying to think how. So it was in this episode where we get Ellie, right?
Yes, we were introduced to Ellie in this episode. And played by God, I'm trying to think of the
we knew her
name.
from Game of Thrones.
Bella Ramsey. And I cannot remember. I'm going to find out what she was called in Game of Thrones real quick.
Yeah, please do.
Because it's been bugging the hell out of me.
But yeah, she we get introduced to her, and like we said, we basically have not played the game. And so you very quickly find out, though, that there's something special about her. These people are kind of holding her hostage because she's been bitten by one of the things, and it's not turning her. It basically like stops spreading, and she's still totally fine. So they kind of, everybody, like, they've been trying to find the cure and all that kind of stuff. And so you very quickly realize that they think she might be a part of the cure.
Yeah.
And so
it's Lyanna Mormont.
Oh, what a name.
I think they called her Lady Mormont in the show.
Probably.
I can't remember. But
yeah. So, she's kind of like this. I think we find out in episode 2 that she's like 14.
Yeah.
But obviously she's grown up in this apocalyptic world. So she's definitely a different kind of breed.
Yeah.
She's very,
but she's spunky like any 14-year-old girl would be.
Yeah. I'm not there with her yet.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess she kind of grew on me a little bit in episode 2, but I don't know. There's like something about her that just
and
kind of
I think from
bit.
this point on, we've got Joel and we've got Ellie, and they're pretty much going to be solo, and you might start to get into their characters and their relationship together,
right?
Moving forward. But just giving my thoughts briefly on episode 1, I'm really enjoying the show. I'm almost leaning towards loving it. I'm pretty into it. I have enjoyed myself watching it, so I'm excited for the next episodes. I don't know what it is about it, because it's very reminiscent of several post-apocalyptic like shows and movies and stuff that I've seen, but I don't know. There's just something about it. The production value is excellent. Like, it just looks good, and I'm just digging it.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, you can probably tell I'm not like super into it at this point.
Yeah.
Kind of. I'm trying to think how did the first episode end? Did it leave on
It ended with them. They were in charge of getting Ellie out of the city. Now they're in charge of Ellie because the Fireflies told them.
They're basically using Ellie as like a.
They're trying to get a battery.
Leverage, or what do you call it? Like, I don't know the word I'm thinking.
They're trying to get a battery, trying to get some money, so they're in charge of escorting Ellie out of the city to the other Firefly group.
Well, I thought, didn't they kind of like steal her because they want to use her as like leverage?
They didn't steal her. They let them have her.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you weren't paying attention, so you let me handle this, okay?
Well, I was watching this part. The woman that was with them, she made it just sound like they were kind of using her.
No, they got her from the Fireflies, and they were in charge of transporting her because the one girl got her ear blown off, and she wasn't in any shape to get her out of there. I think she was in charge of doing that before. I'm trying to look up the character's name. Marlene.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
But anyway, the episode ends with them getting outside of the city. They make it out.
Right.
And there's the shot of which is supposedly an iconic shot from the game with the buildings falling on each other. And that's how that episode ends. And then that picks up in episode 2.
Yeah.
With them outside, and then they're, walking towards where they need to go.
Yeah. So what would you give the first episode for like an opening of a new series? Like,
it's pretty high. And I thought it was a very strong opening, especially with that first half, because I'll agree with you. I think the second half was weaker than the first half. But I still really enjoyed it. So, and we didn't talk about like the prologue. where they were, talking on that like interview style news show about the fungus and how they were basically like foreshadowing what was going to happen. Like that wasn't from the games. You remember that? You look at me like you don't know what I'm talking about.
In the first episode?
In the first episode, yeah. In the foreshadowing, the two guys talking and the one guy's talking about the pandemic and the other guy's talking about if anything's going to take us over, it's going to be fungus.
It was like a long time ago.
Yeah, it was back in the 60s, I think.
Yeah, something like that.
That was a really well done scene that just kind of, you watched it and you're like, had some chills run down your spine, just like thinking about what could happen, especially since everything we've been through over the past couple of years.
Right, like that.
Really kind of hit close to home.
Yeah, I enjoyed that too. Like that stuff, I don't know. That stuff is more interesting to me.
Yeah.
Just like So
yeah. But anyway, I would give it a 9.5 out of 10, to be honest.
Wow.
If I'm rating it on a 10, but I guess we rate on 5, so 4.5 out of 5.
So are you saying that
wasn't perfect?
You compare this to like an episode of House of the Dragon? Yeah, that's what you're saying, because
no, because I gave several episodes of House of the Dragon a 10. I'm not giving it a 10. Let's go with a
9.5 is
I'm talking about the opening episode. I thought was very strong. I would give it a 9.5. I'm sticking with that. You're not going to change my mind.
It wasn't a strong episode all the way through, though.
I still enjoyed a lot of it. So I liked all the introductions and I liked all the characters. So, and now if it was perfect and I enjoyed all of it, I would have given it a 10. But I think a 9.5 or a 5 or a 4.5 is fair. That's what we score. 4.5 out of 5. That's fair, right?
Okay. Well, I was gonna do out of a 10, even though we do out of 5.
Well, we do 5s.
So what would it be if I gave it an 8 out of 10?
4.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I'd give it that.
Yeah, 4 and 5. That's because you really enjoyed the first half and you didn't enjoy the second half.
Yeah,
as much. Okay, so let's get into the second episode, and this one also had a prologue that I really thought was good with the Indonesian scientist.
Yeah, we had to, whenever they said, what was it called?
Mycologist? Was that what it was?
Mycology. Yeah, mycology.
I looked it up earlier, so let me see if it's still on my phone.
We both were. I'm like, what is that? And of course it was someone who studies fungi. And I'm like, oh, that makes sense. And so, yeah, it was another, like, it was right, like, as it was starting to happen.
Yeah.
And they were in another country. I forget where they were.
Indonesia.
Okay. Yeah. So these, the people that are like with the government or whatever, that, they go to find this woman who studies the fungi and stuff. And she thinks that she's done something wrong. And so then you get the whole scene of them explaining. What did I do? That's kind of.
That's what she said.
I know, but that just okay. So you get the whole scene where she, they're explaining like what's happening and all that kind of stuff, and she goes in and like looks at a body that's been bit by one of the creatures.
Very, very chilling scene.
Yeah, for
sure. Very effective.
Yeah, I thought for sure that the body was gonna come alive, but
because she was like, no, there's no way that fungus can stay alive inside humans.
So right.
She was
because of the
shocked and shook by that.
Yeah. So anyway, that was a very cool scene. Because again, you see the like fungus coming out of their mouth.
Yeah.
And
what is that all about? All those little things coming out.
They kind of look like little tapeworms or something, even though it's
little tails or
fungi.
something.
But so yeah, I enjoyed that scene as well. And then I don't know, what is it? Ellie waking up in the
another thing building? I wanted to say is they bring her back and they're continuing to question her, and they basically say like, "What? Well, we need to know a cure. Like, is there a cure for the fungus?" She goes, "No, there's no cure. Like, you need to bomb this whole city."
Right.
So I enjoy all that stuff. I hope they continue to do those kind of prologues for every episode.
Right. It seems like it might be a theme. So
yeah, because I like that kind of through line, just kind of taking us back and showing us giving us context as to why everything happened. But yeah, we open up. I feel like I can't remember if we open up inside the building where they're eating lunch and Joel and Tess are eating beef jerky and Ellie's got this big like chicken sandwich. Is that the scene?
Well, that doesn't happen right away, but yes, okay. She's waking up and she's like laying in a grass patch that's grown in a building, and they've kind of camped out there for the night, and they're moving forward through the city, and I enjoyed episode 2 Pretty good. I feel like, it was a shorter episode as well. So I
Yeah.
think that probably contributed to me not
And
getting
that
bored.
opening scene was like 11 minutes or something. So
Yeah.
I think we only spent like 30 or 40 minutes with Ellie and Joel and Tess.
Yeah. So, it was, I feel like it was a good second episode. We got to see more of the, what did you say they're called?
Clickers.
Clickers. Okay.
We got some clicker action this episode. Well, this is the first episode we got to see a full on.
I don't know though.
Clicker.
I feel like somebody had posted about it and said clicker, and then apparently they got a bunch of crap because people who like really know the show and game and stuff, they're like, that was not a clicker, that was actually something else.
Oh well, I've listened to a couple of review shows and they called them clickers and they're
okay.
fans of the game, so I'm taking what they say.
So I will say this. So as far as the clicker goes, I pull up the one image. Yeah, him. So we get this very tense scene of them going into a building, and they know that there's probably one of them in there.
Yeah, because they see that mangled body.
Right, like it was like a fresh body. And they know the one's in there, and then of course they stumble upon one, and I don't know, the whole scene to me, like, it was kind of funny because he reminded me of a chicken. He like has the like chicken head bob going on.
That looks like a chicken to you?
And well, I'm talking about like body movements. Yeah, like the body movements and kind of the sound. It just kind of reminded me of a chicken. So that was kind of funny to me, but I don't know. I don't really know how I feel about these guys. I mean, they're literally like mushroom heads, and I was kind of making fun of it, saying like Mario and.
Yeah, I mean, it's faithful to the game. It looks like it. They looked in the game, and they're real actors. Like, it's not CGI. They're using real people and real makeup.
Yeah, I mean,
so you got to respect that.
Yeah, I can tell. I mean, it's mushrooms. So
I think they look cool. I like them.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see.
We'll see. And then we get. I guess we can go right towards the end where it's revealed after that clicker attack that Tess has been bitten and she is infected.
Yep.
Which she doesn't want to reveal right away. And I don't know what her motivations were there. She wanted to try to still help and get them as far as they could, or
I'm not sure either.
She
but
had to
I
know
think
she was doomed.
It was Ellie that called it out.
Yeah.
She was like, she's been bit. Yeah. And then, she's forced to kind of show her bite, and very quickly, she's like, promise me you'll get Ellie to, where you need to get her, and she stays behind and blows up the building. And we got a very, I would say, a pretty cool scene where one of the clickers, comes up to her, and the stuff from his mouth goes into her mouth.
That was so weird.
It was weird. I was like,
he's like, what is he doing?
He's like French kissing her or something. And she has like a lighter that she's trying to get lit, and
right at the right moment it lights, and very, very cliched, but it was good. And then the building blows up, and Joel's like, oh, I guess she's gone forever, and then takes Ellie by the hand, and they go stroll off into the unknown.
Yeah, and I think that was just kind of like, I think he was a little sad, but again, he's just like been through so much. He's kind of like, oh well, like life goes on.
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
But I knew that she had to go soon because I've seen several shots of the game, and like she's nowhere to be found in those shots. Like, it's always Ellie and Joel. So
gotcha.
I knew she wasn't going to survive too long. So I was kind of prepared for it. But overall, as a second episode, this is another one I really enjoyed. I think that the pacing, I think it slowed down a little bit when they were kind of going through the buildings and stuff. And it kind of just had some slow moments. So I would take a little bit away from it there. But a 4 out of a 5 for this episode for me. Not as strong as the first episode, but still a pretty strong, good episode. I'm excited for next week.
Gotcha. See, I don't know. Like, I'm confused about the rating because I would say the first one was an 8 out of 10, and this one was an 8.5 out of 10. But I'm
Oh,
not
you
gonna
give this one higher, huh?
I'm not like I wouldn't say this was a 4.5 out of 5.
Well, you could say 4.25. Remember,
I guess
we have introduced quarters.
Yeah.
We did that once. We just don't utilize it very often. So if you want
Yeah.
to utilize the quarter, you can do that here.
I might have to. Yeah.
Okay. 4.25. So you liked this episode
Mm-hmm.
more than I did. Let me ask you another question. So we're 2 episodes in. Are we still going to watch this show? Are you still on board?
I mean, I feel like you're gonna make me. So
we need to get Michelle engaged and on board with The Last of Us. That's what I'm going to tell to the people out there, to the audience. So be sure to comment down below every single week to try to convince Michelle, because you look at all the comments, why she needs to get on board with the show and she needs to love this show.
I mean, they don't know either. They don't know either.
Yeah, I'm just telling them. I want them to convince you, because I can't do it. She doesn't listen to me.
But do we know how many episodes there's going to be?
I think it's 10.
Okay.
I think it's 10. So we'll be doing this for the next 8 weeks, talking about The Last of Us.
That's what I'm saying. It's a
we're gonna
commitment
we're gonna keep this format where we do a little kind of pre-recorded StreamYard thing, but we may go live on occasion. Like if something big happens and we're both really into the episode and we have time, maybe we can do a live and talk about it with the people or something. But not something I'll promise, but maybe it's a possibility. Maybe for the finale or something like that. But okay, that's our review of The Last of Us episodes 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Please in the comment section below, let us know your thoughts. Also subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. We're also on Instagram. You can follow us over there, and that link will be down below. We need to get on Twitter. I told you we need Twitter, TikTok. You're on Letterboxd. I should have put that down there. Like the video. Liking videos is important, guys. We would appreciate it. And then we'll see you guys next week.
Bye, guys.